So here's a question for you. Do healthy people fall for narcissists? Answer that one. Drop your answer in the comments. Just give me a simple yes or no. Do healthy people fall for narcissists? You want to know my answer? Yes. Now, one thing I don't love about the way that narcissistic relationships are universally portrayed is that in general, there is this sense that people who get into these relationships, they're often portrayed as being vulnerable, as people who have really difficult histories, as people who have really low self-esteem. Now, I'm definitely not going to downplay that. These are clearly patterns that are major risk factors. It makes it more likely somebody would get into or stay in a narcissistic relationship, and may even, in fact, make a person more vulnerable to justifying red flags right from the beginning or not even notice the red flags. And the narcissistic person is better able to groom people who have these characteristics and then subsequently gaslight them. But it's not that simple. And a pattern that I have noticed time and time again, and interestingly, I'm noticing more and more recently, is the number of successful, confident, and smart people with solid self-esteem who also get pulled into these relationships. These are not people who have had a string of narcissistic relationships. These are people who may have even come from happy and supportive families. To the untrained eye, these sort of healthy, happy people may have no risk factors per se, right? The way the story often goes down is that the person who is smart and has solid self-esteem and is just in a good place in their lives, they meet a narcissistic person. Typically, they might meet someone who's a largely grandiose, kind of communal or well disguised, malignant narcissistic person, but who's doing well in their lives. And when the love bombing stage happens, that's where everything kind of goes upside down. Because good love bombing can look romantic, exciting. There can be amazing experiences, I don't know, from travel experiences to shared aspirations to shared values even. The narcissist will talk a big future faked, exciting future with you, but you won't know it's future faking. But it will be the big, exciting future you had always hoped to share with a partner. The narcissistic person may care about causes and issues that matter to you and actually put the time into them. They may show up at events or celebrations or raise money and volunteer time and perhaps even travel places to do their good works. Their careers may be exciting, they may be good at them, and you may envision both of you together growing your careers together and having this sort of really strong, solid, interesting, enviable life together. Now here, with these healthy people getting into relationships with narcissists, here's where the cognitive dissonance takes a fascinating turn. In most traditional cases, the cognitive dissonance, once the red flags start coming up, it becomes things like, well, they didn't mean it. They had a tough day at work, that kind of thing. So what gets interesting is when you have a self-assured person who's in a relationship with a narcissist, they may get caught up in the love bombing and then take the healthy stance of, oh yeah, this is a lot of attention in this relationship, or woo, they really are over the top romantically, but I deserve it. Why can't I have a sweeping romance? I work hard. I'm a good catch, so why not? Why can't I have my fairy tale? Now, sometimes the same justifications are made by these folks for the red flags, but in an even more dangerous way. They'll say, I get it. I get why they're late all the time. They have a tough career. I have a busy job too, and I understand that. So that identification, a sort of a healthy person might have with the successful parts of a narcissist, can result in a justification that feels even more personal. So drop a comment here if you identify with this idea of being a healthy person in a narcissistic relationship and making these sort of almost justifications that you could even make sense of for yourself. What are the justifications you've used? Now, people with solid self-esteem who are successful and happy and fall into these relationships, initially at least, they aren't falling into the whole, well, I'm not enough, or I better not complain since I can't do better. And they may not be even confused about the love bombing. They may believe they deserve to be treated well. So what this means is that a person who actually walks into a narcissistic relationship from a healthy space is potentially at even more risk than a person who has more vulnerabilities and risk factors, especially when that healthy person gets ensnared in the whole idea of we're going to be a power couple, and they get future faked. And because they believe in themselves, when those red flags come up, the healthy person believes that they can fix the narcissistic person. They may try to fix the problems that the narcissistic person is facing. They'll say things like, oh, don't worry, I can find you an even better divorce attorney to speed up your divorce from your ex so we can start building our lives together. Or the healthy person might say this to the narcissist. They might say, you know what? I have a lot of accounting expertise, so let me help you out with your financial mess. We can get this cleaned up. Or you might tell them something like, hey, I know someone who can give you a break on your lease. A healthy person often has really robust, rich social networks and may have had a track record of being able to solve problems in their own lives or of successfully helping other people. So red flags aren't warning bells to them, but rather they're just problems to be fixed. And this whole idea of we're in this together, so let me help you. You can start seeing what a slippery slope that could be for a really healthy, kind of high self-esteem person in a narcissistic relationship. This is a very different grooming process in these relationships. And again, some of the risks are greater. When the narcissistic person has a successful, healthy, high self-esteem partner, the narcissistic person both envies them and wants to be with them. Narcissistic people are so deeply insecure, so the healthy self-esteem of the healthy partner is a threat. But the success in being with someone successful and confident is a source of supply for someone narcissistic. That is why many times when a healthy person gets into a relationship with a narcissistic person, they will notice that it's definitely a bit of a roller coaster. At times, it's sort of this feeling of being at the top of the world. We're both amazing together, grandiose sort of stuff, like we're going to rule the world together. But then there'll be times that the narcissistic person becomes combative and sullen. And that combative stuff starts when their inadequacy gets pinged and the narcissistic person feels shame. Often feeling shame that's raised by the healthy person's success and true confidence, and the abandonment fear that the healthy person will leave them. So it's often a toing and froing. Now, narcissistic people often act out when they have successful and healthy partners. They are at risk of doing things like cheating, like having that dirty little secret and a source of supply from someone else from whom they don't feel threatened. The narcissistic person might try to ride their partner's coattails, which then can also fuel that back and forth between shame and rage and then idealization. The healthy person in the relationship may like the shiny, aspirational outsides of the narcissistic person that they originally meet. The love-bomby, grandiose, attractive, charming, charismatic, able to sell a great story about themselves narcissist, and then fight to make it work because they're dealing with all the madness of a narcissistic relationship, but they resonate with this idea of being part of an attractive power couple. The healthy person will start to recognize that when things are going the narcissistic person's way, that the relationship works better. For example, when the narcissistic person's career is flourishing, or the narcissistic person is getting the recognition that they want. So the healthy partner will often not only do their own work and stuff and things that they need to get done, but also try to be the ultra supportive partner for the narcissistic person and try to facilitate the narcissistic person's success so they have those good days with them and can maintain the illusion that they're part of a successful relationship where each person supports the other, and conveniently ignore the fact that the narcissist isn't supporting the healthy person. Like all narcissistic relationships, it's a one-way street. The narcissistic person has a pretty simple goal when they are with a healthy person. Just as with all other people, they want to control them and dominate them to take the power back. So they do all of the things that narcissistic people do. They gaslight, they manipulate, they lie, they're passive aggressive, they get mopey and sullen when things are going the healthy person's way, and then the healthy person whose life is going well may feel that they have to appease the narcissist. Even the healthiest, happiest person, if they do not know what they are dealing with, is always going to be vulnerable to the slow dismantling of the soul that takes place in these relationships. Even the healthiest person will start to doubt themselves, to feel upside down and confused and unsettled, to start feeling ashamed and perhaps isolated, to start getting exhausted at trying to make the narcissistic person look good to the world. And one day, the healthy person starts to wonder if it's them. And even the healthy people can start wondering, well, maybe I'm not enough. Now, that day of feeling not enough tends to come more quickly with the traditional narcissistic relationship because, yep, in general, narcissists do tend to prey on people who are more vulnerable. But to get the healthy, successful partner, in a way that's sort of the holy grail for the narcissistic person. And over time, as they do with everyone, the narcissistic person will suck that healthy person right down into the shame swamp with them. Now, healthy people have the vulnerability of often believing in the goodness of human nature, of being optimistic, of believing any problem can be solved. Now, that style of thinking in a narcissistic relationship is a little bit dangerous. You really need to be a cynic to understand narcissistic relationships, to be able to get down with knowing that these cycles do not change. That invalidation, it's as good as it gets. That the narcissistic end game in a relationship is total control, domination, and power, and that they do, in fact, view people as disposable. It's tough to stop giving people the benefit of the doubt when that's what you're used to doing. That's a difficult baseline assumption to get your head around, that you kind of can't trust people. But once you do, and you are able to notice the red flags, you can get away a lot more quickly in the early phases of the relationship. Many of you may have watched past videos and have thought, you know what, I've been watching your videos and think, I'm not that shrinking violet. I wasn't that shrinking violet when I met the narcissist. I was actually really well put together. I was successful, solid, I believed in myself, I had a great network of friends, I took care of myself, all of those things when I met the person with whom I got into a narcissistic relationship with. Are you going to be the exception? Nope. The superficial charm and charisma of many narcissists, the pretentious swagger, the future faked successful shared future together, the feeling chosen and desired, make these folks desirable to people who are already in a good place, who are already successful, who are solid people, who feel like, I got this, I'm in a good place. And that's why understanding narcissism is so important for all of us. And your belief in yourself means that the love bombing is actually kind of congruent to you. You may be in a position where you feel like you really do deserve a romantic love story. That's a very healthy want. But with a love bombing narcissistic person, it's a very dangerous one. So here's the rub. You want a love story. We all do. But all that glitters isn't gold. It's another proverb, right? Hold out for that love story, but pay attention to the red flags. And while you may be able to solve all kinds of other problems, you can't solve this one. A narcissistic person can undo a person's self-esteem faster than locusts can take out a field. All of us deserve better. All of us deserve a healthy love story. So falling for a narcissistic person doesn't make us foolish. It makes us human. And remember, healthy, vulnerable, it doesn't matter. All of us are vulnerable to these relationships. So thanks for tuning in. If you like today's topic, please give the video a thumbs up. If you want to be part of this community, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. It's been amazing to watch this channel grow, and more than anything, to watch more and more people feel more and more empowered to make difficult decisions about the narcissistic relationships in their lives. Thanks again.